It's like my whole motivation would have been like, I'm not dying and I have a podcast to record. Get out of my way, loser. I have a stream schedule to keep.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Dumela, which is hello, and Sisotho, which is native to South America, Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Just hello. I don't have an informal hello, but yep.
I realize we've been doing this kind of hello for a long time, and I don't know that we've mentioned that we started doing this because we started seeing a lot of global listeners. And at first we were doing the thank you for country for listening to us now, and instead we're just doing the whole every country that we can, at least for whatever you can find on your site.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end. Like, I wonder. I can't remember. I know I think we counted it a little while ago, but it's just like, oh, that's not a lot. I thought there was more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 left. We're finishing this list this year. This list has been going on for over a year.
It has been. Did you ever find a South American list? Because you said South America wasn't on that list.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Interesting.
But I think a lot of South Americans probably speak a dialect of Portuguese or Spanish.
That's fair.
And
but
so
it would be interesting to see.
They don't repeat languages on this list.
Oh, they just kind of skip through. Okay. That makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. Do we have any announcements this week? I did a quick look at Apple Podcasts. I didn't see any new reviews there.
No.
Or ratings.
But the thing is, hey guys, spoiler alert, just like how we planned the farthest we've ever have in Pointless Discourse history, we are also the we have more episodes stocked up than we ever have.
This is very true. So I should change out the announcements thing a bit because we would love to give you a shout out, but we may not.
It will probably come a few weeks later. So if you send us something and we haven't said anything in a month, message at Hoppocalypse and the Pointless Discourse Twitter will let me know that you messaged her.
Yes, you're not allowed to have your tweet shared on the Pointless Discourse Twitter. Which is, by the way, twitter.com/pointlessdisco.
What did you call me?
Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But yeah, so this will be interesting because this is our beginning of our long haul plan for everything. If you didn't catch it from the title of this episode, we're starting our big old movie reviews.
Big moves.
Big moves. We have movies planned to watch at least in this particular series, all the way until the end of October.
Mm-hmm. And then Hop realized how much more was involved with that today. So
well, I thought we were breaking it up into kind of smaller chunks because of the different series that we're watching, but in reality, Itisdpayne brought a good point where you guys can try guessing what we're doing, but within the series, it's all kind of in the same universe. So you can probably guess what we're watching next.
Yeah. It's the Super Smash Brothers movie.
Mm-hmm. And if we had any kind of sponsors, we would do a giveaway to see if the first person who can guess what we're watching next. But we don't. So if you message us and want to take a guess at what we're watching after the series of movies, we can give you a virtual high five.
Yeah, I was going to be like, hey, you know what? We do have a giveaway. It's hey, you get next week's episode Monday. Unless I don't think I've forgotten. Whoa, this cake looks like it's laminated. Okay, off Twitter. But yeah, it's we are starting the Predator. We're doing Predator and just doing the rest of the movies that are our big alien buddy.
There goes. Oh wait, I guess that.
Huh? the Predator is an alien.
Oh, he is, yeah.
It's in the beginning. It just poops out a little ship, and you just like, hello. But yeah. And I'm thinking about it. Isn't the Predator scene in the Star Wars movie?
I'm not the person to ask about that.
I'm pretty sure if I
feel like at
up.
one point someone's going to be like, you know what you guys should watch? You guys should watch Star Wars. And I'm going to be like,
No. I don't want to watch Star Wars.
You'll be the one that says no thanks. It doesn't have to be me. You can be the bad guy.
I normally am.
No, you're the scheduling guy. I'm the overthinking everything guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta jive. Just how we're hated by all other generations, we will still strive.
Yay, being a millennial. It's fun, they said.
Was Obama a millennial or was he Gen X?
Obama?
No. Yeah.
No, he's older than I think you think he is. He was born in...
Well, like, he was the youngest president.
He was born in 1961, so he's 60.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's not... I don't think millennials can even be president. Don't you have to be 40?
No, 35.
Oh, is it 35 is the minimum?
Yeah.
And they just refuse to put anyone in younger than 55?
Well, they got to protect whatever's.
Whatever old people like.
Yeah. It's the tapioca pudding.
The rice pudding.
Yeah.
Okay, before my brain
Can you imagine
spirals,
if I was president?
before
Listen
my brain
here.
spirals,
Listen here.
you would make everybody watch movies. That would be your first thing. You're
Yeah,
not allowed to talk to me until I know your opinion of this piece of media, and if I do not agree with your opinion, you're not allowed in my cabinet.
Executed. Oh, yes, not in my cabinet. Everyone was worried about other people, and then they let someone in with the name Payne.
All right. So, yeah. So, this is us. We're not necessarily going to go into really big review. I guess I did say review of the movie, but this is going to be more of an overview and a discussion of our thoughts of watching movies. Mm-hmm. And at the very end is when we'll kind of go through our big old list and try to sort them out and see which movie is the movie in this universe that rules them all. I think everyone knows the answer to the number one, but we'll see how the rest go.
Well, yeah. So I guess just a little bit of background. We'll probably say this for kind of, because there's a few different chunks in this series that we're watching. And we'll probably just kind of restate it. Just we're watching all these movies, and then on, I think, October 31st, Halloween is on a Monday.
Itself. Yeah.
And so Halloween episode is going to be a ranking list of all these movies, to where Hot was like, that's a lot of movies. And I was like, we got this, which is 90% of our conversations when it comes to planning stuff. Is like, that's a lot. Yeah, we got it. And then then there's a part where it sort of switches, where I'm like, that is a lot. And then Hot will be like, no, we got this.
Yes, we'll see how it goes. But yes, in total, I believe it is, if I counted everything correctly,
30 movies. No.
13. You got the first part right, not the last part of the word. So yes, yeah. So then there's the Predator movies that we're starting off with, and then what the Predator kind of goes into, and then there's also some prequels, and then there's the original, and then there's sequels.
Yeah.
Yep. So where do we want to start with this big old hunk of movie? Well,
I do have a fun announcement. I have two short announcements. One, this was on sale a couple weeks ago, and then I finally drank it. I'm just supporting.
It's me, except it's not me. I'm not getting any royalties.
I'm supporting. I just realized.
It's Hop Tea for anyone that doesn't have the visual aid of YouTube or Spotify are the two places you can watch us if you'd like to know what we look like. Because I haven't really been on the internet as much as I used to be.
Yeah, this one's called the green tea one.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of like sparkling tea.
That is what it's labeled as.
Yeah,
Sparkle. I did really like sparkling stuff for a while, and now I'm kind of just degraded back into go to Wawa and get the largest size of spray I can get.
yeah. I think it's yerba mate. I think that's what they're called.
I like yerba mate.
They're pretty good. I just got 2 of them because they were on sale, and then I drank them because like a good Itisdpayne, I slept like garbage this week, and
Yeah,
so
the caffeine in yerba mate, it sneaks up on you.
yeah. Well, that was not the reason I slept like garbage, but it was. But I had one. I think I was just like I was just thirsty, and I was like I want something besides water right now, and then I had them, and so I drank one last night, and I don't know, like the caffeine, it's not like artificially or injected caffeine. It's like whatever they put in there is like a natural caffeine, like kind of how teas. And I'm like, I don't feel like hot garbage drinking this, and there really isn't like added sugars, and it has a nice taste. This is super dangerous. But
Yeah.
I cut you off.
No, I was gonna say because I used to drink those when I worked in an office, so naturally less sleep because I also had to be like, oh, I want to be home and do stuff, and then I want to stay up late to have fun, and then I want to get up early so I can get to work so I can get home. The vicious cycle. But I used to drink a lot of yerba mate, and it definitely like that caffeine hits me more than if I just make myself a cup of black tea in the morning. Which is kind of like I'll do that occasionally now, but I've also devolved into, because it's summer, I get the tea
milk
concentrate. No, I get tea concentrates from the grocery store to save a little bit of money. So then I have that, and then I have oat milk, and then I put that over ice, and then I'll kind of just drink that through the morning slowly.
Well, I guess
that has a lot of sugar in it too, so I could make my own concentrates from home. I technically have this stuff to make my own chai, because I do have like the cardamom, the cinnamon, and I think it's star anise.
Yeah. You also, compared to like you work at it where you could just set it up while you like kind of do your login things, then go and get it while it warms up. It's just like me.
Yeah.
For me, I like have to actually wake up
In the house. I used to have a on-the-go tea thermos where it had the tea strainer built into the thermos, and I would just have to boil the hot water in, and then by the time I got into work, I just threw out the loose tea leaves, and then I had like a 14 ounce thing of tea to sip on for my day. But then it was too hot because of the thermos.
Yeah, I one of the things now that I kind of regret, because I'm like, you know what, they probably would have had this on sale for Prime Day, is I wanted to get like either a mug or something that way that was like 16 ounces or something, where it's like, okay, this is what this tea bag is set, so that way I can get rid of some of these tea bags, because like I'm realizing it's more of a mental thing, but in my head I'm like, okay, this is made for 16 ounces. I don't have anything that I can easily measure 16 ounces, and so I'm diluting the water, like the taste, and so like in my brain it's just like it stops me from making it.
Gotcha.
But the other fun story was I got abandoned yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went to work, as I don't want to do, and I showed up, did the normal things, and there was a guy. There's a handful of guys that are there, and one guy, he left early, which was like he lives in Jersey, like in Long Beach, and makes the commute from Long Beach to here.
So to avoid traffic, he was just like, let me sneak out during the middle of the day kind of thing.
It was even before the middle of the day. I don't even know why he came in. but like, yeah, so he left, and like it was one of those things, like he left so early, I don't even know if he actually ever came into work. The owner there's 2 owners. Like I work for my dad and uncle. So my dad, he was out all week, which I didn't even know that was happening, which was fun, but normal. And so he was gone. And then there's this other guy who's just like, he never leaves early, and then he left at lunch. I'm just like, okay. And so like I'm standing there, and so there's only like 3 of us left in the shop. And the one guy comes up to me, and he's like, dude, I gotta leave at 2:30. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, have fun. And then he comes up to me and is like, hey, the other guy's also leaving at 2:30. Are you staying? And I'm like,
Oh, you got stuck.
I guess. I'm planning on it. Like, what am I gonna do at home? Just sit there more? And so I ended up staying, and I had the whole last hour to myself at work. Like, I went over there, and like they locked the door, so all I had to do was like kind of close everything, and then I got the code because I had to go turn in stuff at the other. We have two shops, and so I had to go turn stuff in, and I was like, talked to the foreman. I was like, hey, everyone's leaving but me. Do you want to just give me the key code so I can just lock the building? So that way you don't have to come over here, because for some reason our time clock is like 10 minutes slower than the one at the other shop.
Weird.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, that would be great. So he gave me that and set it all up, bada bing, bada boom. And so I'm just sitting there, and I realize, like, I'm just by myself listening to the Dragon Republic, the second book of the Poppy War, just like, just chilling. And I'm like, I realized I'm like borderline smiling. I'm like, wow, everyone is gone, and I am so happy.
It is literally my chance to just do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, and then I found out they like turned off the air compressor, which I needed for work, and I was like, but then I only had like 20 minutes left of work, so I'm just like, okay. And then what was really weird, like I'm just sitting there because I have my Bluetooth headphones in, just like, yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm like, did I just hear a machine turn on? And I'm like, no one should be here. And I'm like, and then I paused the book, and I'm like, there is definitely somebody else in this shop. Who the heck is here? And it turns out it was my uncle, just cleaning stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. And so
that sounded like the beginning of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Everybody just so happened to leave early that day. You were all alone in the shop, and then suddenly you start hearing noises through your headphones, and you're just like, no, what?
Except I could already see if I was in a horror movie, this is what would happen. It's just like how people are like, oh no, I gotta escape. I gotta like save my kid, do this for my family. Or just like, no, I'm not gonna die here. It's like my whole motivation would have been like, I'm not dying. I have a podcast to record. Get out of my way, loser. I have a stream schedule to keep. Where's that protagonist where they're just like, hey guy, I got stuff I need to do. Get out of my way. That'd be a fun movie.
That would be entertaining.
Oh man, I forget the guy, the director that made The Guest and You're Next. I think that's what it is. It's like they are horror movies sort of, but they're kind of like parodies after kind of tropes and other things. Like The Guest is like, what if Captain America was a psychopath killer?
Okay.
And like, and Your Next is, I'm pretty sure it's a movie. It's like, what if the people that were like trying to hunt down, like the movies where it's just like the kind of like how the Uninvited, where it's just like psycho killer people come in and start hunting people inside the room. It's like, what if the person they're doing that is actually like one of the people is the most prepared, like MacGyver-esque person, and it's like they're two really good movies. Like they're.
Oh, is the one with the blind guy?
No, not that one. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right movie. Hold on.
Because when you said like the guy's like ultra prepared, that kind of reminded me of.
No, it's yeah, no, that I saw bits of that movie and I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Your Next is pretty much like there's this huge family get together, and all of a sudden these people in animal masks starts killing everybody.
Oh, I think I've seen screenshots.
I
of
have
that.
I have the
I can look it up real quick.
Oh, I have it right here, so I can just send it to you.
From 2011.
Yeah, 2011 had some really good movies that a lot of people. Why didn't I not add this to our big movie list? And why did I put The Cell?
You wanted to watch Jennifer Lopez in a Twizzler suit. It's fine.
Besides that point, why did I skip this? This would have been. Oh man.
You just wanted to hear Vince Vaughn be a tough cop. It's fine.
Actually, all I remembered was all the dream sequences, except for the one
the cool set pieces, and not the parts where you're like, "This isn't how psychology works."
Yeah. Adam Wingard, though, I think if I remember correctly, he made some really decent movies. Yeah, The Guest. He did The Guest, which is pretty. Oh, he did Godzilla versus Kong. Oh, and he did some of VHS. I didn't know that. But anyway, I want to pause before I say I liked all his stuff because I only remember two, The Guest and You're Next, and those are those ones I with. Oh my goodness, he directed Death Note movie. Watch The Guest and You're Next. Those ones are good. The
Good
Guest,
pause. Good reason to say, before I say I like all his work, let me make sure I don't regret what I'm about to say.
Yeah. And so, well, like, as I was about to say that, he also has a movie called Autoerotic, which I have no clue what that movie is.
Sounds like what I was making fun of that ghost for in Phasmophobia when it killed me.
Oh, I clicked it to find out what it was, and I wasn't expecting that movie poster, so let's just go back. Go back. Thank you. But yeah.
I was going to say, I just checked the time of how much we've been talking, so before we lose track of all time, you ready to talk about Predator?
I wish I had a Predator dice, but I don't.
Would it just be invisible? Would it have heat vision? Would it have mandibles?
Or just had green for his blood.
I looked up some fun facts, so depending how much time we have.
There are some real fun
Yeah.
trivia. Oh, I clicked the Arnold link. I don't want the Arnold link. I want the trivia. Thank you.
Like you also went to trivia.
Yeah, because I was reading this, like, as I was watching it, and I was like, right after, I was like, there's some really neat things. Like how they got the invisibility. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. It's a neat trick. So we're rolling dice. Are we rolling dice to see who does the synopsis of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And watch, this is all the ones that I'm going to lose where I'm like, I actually feel comfortable talking about this. You know what? I'm going to roll the sky die because there's sky in this movie.
There is a lot of sky.
Oh, okay, never mind. I rolled a 14.
I rolled a 19.
Yeah.
I'm sure as soon as you heard me go, oop, you figured
Yeah.
that I was going to go first. All right. So the synopsis of this movie, there's not a lot to talk about. It's just a movie with an alien. No. So you open up in the movie and you kind of are very crudely introduced to people, very roughly. You kind of only get the names of people, from what I could tell, through dialogue and through the stuff at the very end. So it was very hard for me to keep track of who anybody was. And I also, in my mind, was like, do I have to keep track of anybody?
Nah.
So you open up with Dutch, played by Arnold, and he arrives to the scene and he's getting lectured about how people have gone, it's a rescue mission. And then he runs into an old colleague who goes by Dylan. Oh, yes. And then they do the arm wrestling match to show off how big their muscles are because Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger were like, we're big boys. We need to show it off. And I was like, okay. And then...
for quick side note, for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, if you've seen the meme of the white arm with the red shirt and the black arm with the blue shirt, just holding hands, muscles rippling.
Yeah, a lot of the meme is the whole like my playlist coming together, or like two things that are like opposite and like coming together.
Yes.
But yeah, so they kind of like just have a in-air arm wrestling match to prove who's the manlier man, because Arnold is like, you're wearing a tie and you're a pencil pusher, and the guy's like, you turned down a job in Libya. And Dutch is like, yeah, because I'm not an assassin. I rescue people. Little does he know.
Okay. First thing, I didn't hear a lot of that because, at least for me, on
the
Hulu,
sound design was bad.
Yeah, sound balance was terrible.
I had to turn it up quite a bit, and I also was just like Mac, I couldn't hear half of what Mac was saying throughout the movie.
I don't remember which one Mac is.
Mac is the guy that kept shaving his face whenever he got anxiety.
Yes, yeah.
Who kind of like just kind of turns. Anyway, so yes, so then you kind of end up on this plane to the location that they said that they're going, because it's apparently guerrilla warfare in the Mexican jungle. You get introduced to the good old misogynistic, racist, and homophobic cast from the 80s.
Some things don't fly no more, and that was a bunch of them.
If you ever want to hear a guy make really weird jokes about the size of his wife or girlfriend's...
I think it's girlfriends, yeah.
Yeah, girlfriend stuff. And, he makes, like, two weird jokes about it, and he really wanted them to land. And I was like, I don't know who this is for. I think the first joke was, like, it's as big as a house, because get it? It is very large. And everyone's like, shut up. And then later on, he has a joke that's like, it echoes. Or no, I said hello to it twice, and she's like, "Why'd you say it twice?" He's like, "No, it echoes because it's very big."
Yeah, and then it was like
The most forced laughter.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So what I will say overall, of my opinion, the dialogue is the clunkiest dialogue that exists only to kind of get you to where they need to go as soon as possible.
It was to let you know who everyone is and then quickly leave.
Yes. The only redeeming factor of any of the dialogue are the one-liners that happen once they actually encounter everything. But yeah, so the movie starts out. The group goes what they think is a rescue mission, and they go and they kind of set up this whole ambush of trying to take down this guerrilla camp. All the while, they are also being hunted as they are hunting. Those scenes are cool. I do have some trivia about the heat scenes, but anyway, so yes. So there's some really cool angle work, I think, to really juxtapose and kind of give it, like, it's not a horror movie, but almost gives it the, like, thriller-ish vibe, because you don't know who's hunting who and why and when, which for me, I was like, oh, there's an air of mystery to this movie. How do you do this for any other Predator movie if everybody knows what the Predator is, so that the first time, like, I imagine the first time you watch this and you've never heard of the concept of the Predator, like when this is in theaters, it's like, it would be scary and you wouldn't know what to expect. But then you go into another Predator movie, you're like, all right, there's the Invisible Man running around hunting people with heat vision.
Yeah.
So then it goes in, they go through the camp, they find out Dylan lied to them and sent them on an assassination plot, and that he wanted to take the girl. I forget why he wanted
she
the
had
girl.
apparently
Knowledge.
Yeah.
And
I
I
got
was like,
my own issues with that. It was
Yeah.
like one of those things in the beginning was like, there's got to be the... Oh, there she is.
It's the 80s. There's got to be a girl in a white tank top without a bra on. But yeah, so then they go. But I like how Dutch comes in. He's like, we have a hostage to take. I was like, oh, so every guy in the place you had to kill, but you're like, pretty lady, we take her. She's ours now.
No, what I like is the fact they're blowing literally everyone up, and then... backhand. It's like, oh, of course, the one person that is a woman in a 8,000 mile radius of this forest sneaks up, and he's like, I cannot fire a gun. I must use hand-to-hand combat. We'll save you.
Yeah, there were plenty of explosions. There was so much gunfire. There was so much noise. There was so much destruction in this poor jungle that was shot on location.
No wonder they got hunted. The Predator is just an eco-terrorist for justice against the CIA.
But yeah, so then there's like a whole CIA subplot that's like,
doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah, it's there for the sake of getting them to the location, because you also find out that Dylan brought them there because, like, his buddies that were Green Berets were the ones that died on the plane that they saw in the beginning, and he needed to know what happened to them. And Dutch was like,
just go back to Rocky.
Yeah. That's another trivia point. What else? So then they go through, and then the hunt begins. They all die off one by one. Dylan gets mad because he's like, what was it? And the lady keeps saying, the jungle's coming to life. And he's like, she's stupid. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Tell me what's happening. And I was like, everybody's mad. I get it. And then one by one, they die. Explosions happen. The one thing I did appreciate is it felt like the audience, as a viewer, got to learn with the characters what works and doesn't work against this creature.
It didn't feel forced them learning.
No, yeah, it didn't feel like there was a scientist that was like, well, you see.
Yes.
It was very much a lot of accidental things happening that worked out in their favor, and on both sides that were both learning how to hunt each other, it was them trying to figure out how to use the environment to their advantage, which was really fun.
I also like how, like, compared to other, like, alien monster-esque movies that we watched, the Predator has intelligence, but that we can get into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So there's the back and forth of who's going to win. It ends up down to Dutch and the Predator, and then lots of things. Oh, and the girl, of course, because the girl has to live at the end of the movie.
Well, she got away.
Yeah, the girl has to live at the end of the movie. And then, yeah, so then they have the 1v1, and then a bunch of crazy stuff happens. And the end of the movie is very much the whole, like, well, I guess it's over. But it's never over, is it? But yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that I kind of missed on the?
Nah, I think that covers the majority of it. Like, I would agree that this one, it doesn't feel, I guess, like a traditional horror movie, and it feels
It's
more
not,
of a thriller.
yeah, I wouldn't say it, yeah, it leans more into the thriller because it's the whole concept of something's happening, but you don't know what's happening exactly. Whereas I feel like typical horror movies tend to do that slow build into things getting scarier. But this one, it's not scarier. It's just finding out what the threat is over time.
Yeah. The one thing I felt like watching this movie that I thought was really interesting is how they're in the rainforest and how a giant open area felt so enclosed. Like, while watching
with
it.
all,
Like,
with all the trees and everything, it realistically is.
Yeah, but like, it felt like, even though they could
they were running forever. It wasn't like...
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, they were running forever, but it's just like, it felt that no matter where they tried to run or anything, it didn't matter. Like, where it feels like some other horror movies are like, okay, if I can just get off this ship, like a spaceship, or out of this building, I can get somewhere safe, or out of this town, I can get safe. Where it's like, you're in like this rainforest, and it's like, you can run. And they're
still somehow still cornered.
Yeah. Which was, I thought, like, there's certain scenes that I thought, like, built, like, I think the tenseness, like even if it didn't fully hit, like, at least watching it, I was like, okay, this feels like it's building, like, giving a theme of, like, just making the characters feel the tenseness as they're going in. I can't think of a better word.
I think there was a lot of really cool, subtle moments. Because even though, like I said, the dialogue is awful. Like, other than one-liners, don't listen to anything that's being said because it doesn't matter. It doesn't come back at all. Like, it doesn't even... A lot of the hints and everything is really in the environment itself and what you can see. So, and then the other thing I was going to say is, even though the dialogue was really bad, I thought they were all good, pretty, like, physical actors. Because, like, their facial expressions conveyed a lot of tension. The Mac guy, like I said, he shaves throughout a lot of the movie. And then, like, he doesn't really snap until you see him snap his razor. Yeah. And I was like, they can still act. I don't know if the dialogue is written badly, if the director had just bad delivery, like, direction. Or if it's just action movies, and that's just how action movies generally were of the time. But the actual, like, when you're watching them and their facial expressions, when they're like, the thing's in front of me, you're like, he's gonna die. This is a scene he dies.
Yep.
Before we get too far into it, though, I don't know if it's just because, like, I like to pay attention to these kinds of things, but all the equipment in the very beginning of the movie made me curious of what the budget of it was. Because, they had a lot of helicopters, they had a lot of trucks,
and
they were all on location.
All in the beginning.
All in the, like, first 5 minutes. And then on top of that, all the explosions, the ammos, the props. Can you guess what the budget for Predator was?
Oh, no, I'm terrible at these. Shoot. Oh, I don't even know a good ballpark, because, like, I got my brain when I think budget, I think up, like, millions of dollars because of, like, all the Marvel stuff. But if it's the 80s, I don't think it doesn't feel like a $500,000 movie. Is that even close?
It's not close at all.
Like, too high?
Too low.
Is it like a $2 million movie?
Up.
Just tell me. I don't.
$18 million. Oh
my goodness.
In the 80s. Guess how much it... and I found a list of, like, how they grossed, because I was also curious about how much money it made. So they spent $180 million, and they were able to earn all that back and earn almost $60 million on top of that.
Well, it's a good investment then.
Yeah, it was a good investment, but, like, with all that equipment and stuff, I was like, this has got to be expensive. And, like, yeah, $18 million.
Yeah, as I'm, like, sitting there thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because, like, they're in the jungle on set.
On location, all the travel, all the hotel stays, the equipment, the...
Bringing in houseplants.
One of the trivia facts was apparently they had to take various breaks while recording. I don't know if you found these. One was so Arnold could go get married, so they took like a 3-day break.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Yeah.
And then the other one was everyone hated what the original Predator looked like.
Yeah. Well, like originally the original Predator was supposed to be Van Damme.
Well, yeah, I saw that as an actor, but did you see the one about what the suit was? Design for the suit was going to be?
Like, I saw a little bit in the Van Damme thing that it was supposed to be more an agile ninja-like hunter, but then they're like, this doesn't make sense. Also, Van Damme's like, I don't want to do this. The suit's too hot.
Yeah,
but I didn't see what the original or heard what the original
it
suit
said that Arnold saw the suit and said to him it looked like a lizard suit with the head of a duck. So then they reached out to Stan Winston, who is very famous for, he worked on the Terminator series, he did Jurassic Park, he did the Alien movies, he did The Thing. So he had like a lot of monster movie makeup. And they were like, can you make this work? And then like he transformed it into what it is now. But then the suit got really heavy, like even heavier.
Yeah. So I figure one thing that might be good, because I feel like there's like, this movie is like 3 chunks. And like maybe we can talk about the 3 chunks like real quick of what we think. Like
the
pretty
first
much,
arc it doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, well, like I was thinking, like the first chunk could be like arrival to blowing up the gorilla base. The second chunk could be
the picking them off.
Yeah, picking them off, and then the last chunk could be
the 1v1.
Arnold and. I almost said Demogorgon.
I do think each of those is, oddly enough, maybe about a third of the movie.
I think so.
In length.
Yeah.
Because I want to say I paused at one point, and when it started to look like it was the 1v1, it might have been like 40 minutes left. So
yeah, well, there's
almost like a third.
Yeah, because there. Well, and then there's all the credits as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But it's still longer. So let's see.
So I think I kind of talked about the beginning arc in my opinion on it, in that I don't really like it served its purpose to get them in the location, but otherwise, like, I feel like they could have also have just dropped them in the jungle and said, this is what we did to get here. And I think it would have still had the same effect for me.
Like, there was a few things that I did like about it. Like, I didn't like them talking in the helicopter, but
it was so bad.
But it's like, it's one of those things where I'm like, watching it, I was like, they're keeping so much information away from Dutch and his crew, because he's like, what about this? And Dylan is just like, oh no, don't worry, there's no backup, you're it. And he's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? While it's like,
anytime he asks questions, they go, I'm in command, you're just hired help.
Yeah, and it's like, which kind of comes up later, but it's but he's just like, I think he's realizing is like, which
something's fishy.
Yeah, which it kind of calls on the question, like, is he mercenary or is he just kind of like actually called in? It's like that in itself doesn't seem very, because it seems like his group is like the elite force that they call it, like kind of a black op group, which kind of, as we see throughout, like they are highly trained, even though they're blowing everything up.
They had, I think one of the trivia facts I also saw is that I think Arnold or somebody else on the team specifically requested they actually do training things so that it looks real. And I do have to give them credit compared to other movies where they're like, we are trained professionals, and they're just running around and like they look awkward. They did have formations. They did actually look coordinated, and like they had a lot of the signaling and stuff that made me think, oh, these guys have been working together for a really long time.
The other thing I thought was very interesting, it's like there's a shift in tone, like from the helicopter to the jungle, like where they as soon as there's like everyone's like, yeah, cool, like I'm like, and as I'm sitting here, it's like, I don't want to be in this helicopter anymore. And then as soon as they turn off the radio and it's ready to go down, there's like a whole tone shift. And then as they're in the forest, it went from like rock on the radio to like a very quiet, subtle like music, like music theme, where it's just like, okay, this, because I can't think of any other word, like this feels like a little tense right now, because it's like, no, we are on mission.
Yeah, the tone. Yeah, they did do a good job with the tone as well of setting what you're supposed to be feeling in the different arcs. Because, like you said, there are different arcs, and it was kind of interesting because they even in the like you said they were hiding a lot of stuff from Dutch. As soon as they find the initial evidence of something being bigger than what they thought it was, they find the helicopter with the Green Berets that are supposedly supposed to be like just as elite as Dutch and his team, and Dutch is like, why were they here? What took them down? Where are the tracks? What were they shooting at? And everyone's like,
Well, like, and that's the other thing where like there are tracks and stuff that like Pancho is able to find. Like he's like, yeah, there's stuff, but he's like, whatever whoever did this stuff to them is like, we don't know. And it's like, I don't know what the trailers for this movie was, but like looking at the like movie poster that they have here, it doesn't look like there's any aliens. And it's just like the fact
so that would be even scarier.
Yeah,
for people.
It's just the fact that they find 3 de-skinned humans and their organs like thrown like somewhere else.
Yeah, the practical effects were all very good. I did like all the practical effects.
Yeah, and then they just kind of travel through the forest, and then I don't think there's really anything like pretty much. I think there's just kind of like internal arguments. You know what this actually kind of reminds me of? This is like a big Call of Cthulhu / Delta Green mission.
Okay.
Because like there's definitely like people that fail sanity checks, as you're saying, like. Mac's character is a good example of that, where he goes permanently insane.
His poor buddy.
Yeah. And then just, I don't know, like, it'd probably be because I'm doing a lot of Call of Cthulhu. I'm just like, I can see this. A little bit more action oriented. Probably
and
Pulp Cthulhu.
Even for them being the elite troops, they did do a lot of humanizing in them as well, because you know, they go in thinking it's one thing, and then they're slowly finding out it's something they've never dealt with. They don't know what to do, and they don't know where to go from there. And it's just a lot of, like you said, a lot of infighting, because they don't know who to trust, what's going on. And they are all just like, I don't want to die. Too bad.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was really interesting is like, even before we see the Predator and his like the CGI stuff that they do, like there's constant things where like Pancho is for people who don't know the characters, Pancho is the Native American who is like their scout. I think he was Native American. I don't feel bad if he wasn't. But he was pretty much going through, and like he was their scout, and he was able to like see the tracks and stuff. And there's like multiple times in the beginning where he's just like staring off into the distance, and he's like, and Dutch or Arnold comes up and says like, hey, what are you looking at? And he's like, nothing. And then it's just like, it does a slow like kind of zoom into the woods. And I don't know if you did what I did, but I'm like, okay, I know what effect I'm looking for. Where is it?
Where is he?
Where is he? And there's nothing there.
I just let it play.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Yeah, the thing that you said that's interesting. So yeah, they do a lot of hints for the viewer to, you know, like I said, like a thriller, where it's, you know, something is coming to get them. When is it going to do it? How is it going to do it? What is it doing until it does it? It takes a long time for you to really piece together that it was just learning and observing so that it knew the plan of attack. One trivia thing I found says the Predator has 8 minutes of screen time.
It feels
in
a
total.
lot more.
But it is interspersed. Like you have like
Yes.
10 seconds of the invisibility here. You have 10 seconds of invisibility here.
Well, like, and
Blah, blah,
also
blah.
in the middle of the jungle with that suit, like, totally makes sense.
Yeah, the actor for it, he was 7'2", the one
Yeah.
that they finally got to cast for it. And the other trivia I found is the director was like, you were in that like real heavy suit out in the jungle in this insane heat where everybody was already feeling bad without
Yeah.
the suit on. And they let him be in a little clip on the rescue copter.
Yeah, he's a helicopter pilot.
But sad thing is, I saw that he passed away very young.
Yeah, I think he's in Predator 2.
Yeah, but I don't think he was able to be in the rest of them.
Yeah, because I think he died. I think it said like in his 30s, like
Yeah, it
early
said
30s.
that he had a blood transfusion and had contracted HIV through that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I guess moving forward from that, let's talk about some one-liners in that fight.
Some of them were improv
Yeah.
in the guerrilla warfare. Apparently, the really famous "stick around" that was improv. Yeah, and then I think I liked the one-liner from, I think it was Poncho, and was it Billy? No, or I forget the name of the other guy. But when they were like shooting up above them.
Oh, Blaine.
Blaine.
Oh no, there is
yes.
a Billy. Billy's the nerd. Billy's the one who keeps making the jokes about his girlfriend.
Yeah, I was glad he died early.
Yeah.
But I read that he died early because he's also a writer, so he was just like, I'm kind of just here to fill in the spot if you guys could like.
Yeah. And Blaine is Jesse Ventura, which is
the wrestler.
Yeah. So he's the
I
one
forget
that
what
had
the
machine gun
one-liner
on the
was,
back.
but it was like Poncho and him had some fun banner at the camp. I forgot to write it down.
I'll look in the quotes. Let's see if I can find it. But
The one line, I ain't got time to bleed.
Knock knock. As Dutch just opens up the door and it's just
Kicks it.
It's like you gotta say something. Okay.
Oh, I forgot the other weird one-liner from the helicopter scene that we didn't love is, this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual
Yes.
tyrannosaurus, just like me. When he started to get homophobic, my brain kind of just turned off, but then I heard sexual tyrannosaurus. I was like, oh, I've heard that joke before. All right, I'm good.
Yeah. I don't see anything. I like how Major General Phillips has one of the quotes, "My God," when he sees the explosion at the end.
Yeah. And they're flying in for the rescue. The get to the chopper is very famous. I feel like there's a good Dutch quote that we should save until the 1v1 arc when we discuss that.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of good quotes in the 1v1.
But yeah, so
I like the Billy Poncho stuff, but I think that's more in arc 2.
yeah. Like the first one, I felt like the first story, like kind of first beat was definitely we are going to show you that this isn't some like pulled together hodgepodge team. Like these guys trust each other. They're highly trained, and like you have they took out a whole militia with no damage to themselves. Like I don't think like
One guy got shot.
I think, but yeah. So like, I was trying to remember. I was like, I think one of them does get hurt, but it's like no one dies, and it's just like all the explosions, and like I was sitting like one of the things I'm like, as soon as I saw the gun, I'm like, okay, just the way I was like, this is probably gonna be a woman. Oh, and look, they're keeping her.
They reference putting a leash on her. They do a lot of keep her in
Yes.
line, keep her in control.
And then as I was sitting there watching it, it's like, yeah, they're speaking to her in Spanish, and I was like, that's cool. If she speaks English, I'm gonna be pissed.
And she does.
Yes, and I'm just
she
like, and then
does.
it's like the thing that, and this is, I guess, I'll save it when it gets to that part. But yeah, like, the fact of just like one of the things I think that's like immediately stood out to me of like how well trained they were was the fact of like, I think it was Mac and Poncho as they're going through the one area, like they're about to go and then they stop like right in front of a claymore and like see it trapped and they're like 1 second, and they're just like within the course of like 2 minutes they already have it like down and not a threat. And I'm like, okay, there's that, and like, and then just all the explosions.
Lots of explosions. I found the quote that I was looking for that's in
Okay.
the first arc. It's Poncho and Blaine. Poncho says, "You're hit, man, you're bleeding." And Blaine says the classically tough line, "I ain't got time to bleed." And Poncho goes, "Okay," and shoots like grenades up at the cliff above him and goes, "Do you got time to duck?" And, explosions. That one I thought was
Yes.
funny too.
Yeah, like it, as I said, like the first part really felt like these guys are more than just people on a team. Like
It really it does
It's like
set up
a-
the tone, at least, that they are hired for a reason.
Yeah, and but like they're closer than just like a team. Like it feels like kind of they feel like either like brothers or like a family. Kind of like the way they kind of treat and joke with each other. Like they're on like a countryside stroll, just shooting everything.
And still have times to jokes with each other and check in on each other. Yeah. Anything else from your notes for the first section?
No, that was kind of the main thing. Was just that.
All right. So then for the second section, I think was personally my favorite part because it's very much, it leans into kind of a little bit of like the edge of your seat where you're kind of discovering things as the crew is discovering it. Did you want to share your trivia fact about how they did the invisibility for the Predator?
Yeah. So for anyone that does anything with a green screen, you know that you have chroma key, and you take your chroma key, and then you get rid of your green. And if you're wearing green, it also goes. However, they were in the rainforest, so there's already a lot of green, and they were saying the sky, like there's a lot of shots where you can see the sky, and so they couldn't really do that either. So what they did was they got a bright red suit, and which, as they hear in the trivia thing, was the farthest opposite. I don't know why there's people trying to contact me. That's my phone turned back on. Yeah, so they have a bright red suit, and when they removed it with a chroma key, like they removed it, and so they did that, and then they repeat it with a wider lens, and so with putting that together, it allowed for the
cool optics of it. Because I think that they were going for like an invisibility blur kind of thing, and by using the wider lens with it kind of makes it looks the same, but it's just like off put around where his body is. And the other thing that I forgot to mention was the trivia I found about his heat vision, where they said that they try to use an actual just straight up heat vision camera, but like it doesn't film well by doing that. So what they did is they did normal footage in negative, and then in post, they took what they saw in heat vision and then laid the colors on top of the negative so that it came up very clear for film and create the same effect.
There's a lot of neat, like, technical things that they do on this movie, it was pretty neat.
Yeah. But yeah, so then the second arc is them getting picked off one by one. A lot of the heat vision, a lot of the invisibility is used. A lot of gunfire is used. A lot of other good one-liners are used. Like they do a lot of like foreshadowing with saying like the one character, I think it's Billy. They're like, Billy, why are you so scared? You're not scared of anything. And Billy's like, I'm not scared of any man. And whatever that is not any man I've run into. Yeah. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Billy or Poncho. Because like Poncho's like, he's tuned into this thing at the start.
Poncho is like aware of its presence, but he doesn't know. But it says, the quote, I have like a IMDb quotes. It says, Billy, I'm scared, Poncho. And Poncho says, bullshit, you ain't afraid of no man. And Billy says, there's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man. We're all gonna die.
Yeah, because they start finding more evidence that they're being hunted.
Yeah, and then eventually, I think after two of the guys die, Dutch comes to the conclusion it's like he's hunting us, but he's not just trying to kill us, because if he was trying to kill all of us, he would have killed Anna. But Anna hasn't held a weapon once, so he doesn't want her. He wants the rest of us.
I thought that was interesting. Like, just how she's like, I need to protect myself, and he's constantly like this
kicking
is more
guns out of her
yeah,
hand.
just like stop it.
It's like, I know you're afraid to die, but like you won't die if you listen to me.
Yeah.
I think they did a good setup too of making Dutch, like, while Arnold is traditionally like big guy, kind of goofy guy, kind of like muscle guy, but they did make him seem very like smart in this movie, and not in a way that like didn't make sense. It was all very like, oh, I saw him do this, which means this, which means this.
Yeah, like it shows like, yes, he is the leader of this troop for a reason.
Yeah, so then, were there any of the particular deaths that you really enjoyed in the middle section?
The boar.
Poor piggy.
I think Mac is the most memorable for me, because
His was like you said, it was the spiral into losing all of his sanity and like failing his sanity checks.
yeah, it's
Poetic in a way for him trying to redeem his friend.
yeah, and it's like it makes sense. But okay, so actually, I wrote a question here. I came up with actually 2 questions since.
Look at you.
So, one of these would come in a little bit later, but since we're talking about Mac's spot, Mac is going, and Dylan at this point, he's like fed up, and he's like, I'm going to go after this predator as well.
Yeah, he wants to redeem himself after Dutch is like, you're an a-hole and you used us and you said mean things. Blah, 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 blah.
So do you think, because at this point I think there's a conversation between Arnold and Anna, Dutch and Anna, like probably 5 minutes in movie time right before they split off, where he's like, don't take the gun, you're like, you haven't held a gun, so he's not going to hunt you. Do you think because Dylan was, like, at this point confirmed, used and betrayed them, the reason he gave him a second gun was to make sure that this thing was going to go after him?
Maybe, but also Dylan was doing the self-sacrificial, let me redeem myself, let me save, I forget who he said he was going to go back and get, because...
Mac was this is when Mac
okay.
breaks off.
Because Poncho got hit with the log, right? So they had to help walk Poncho back.
No,
Anna and Dutch.
Not Poncho. I think it was no, because Jesse Ventura died already.
Yeah, so that's why I thought it was Poncho.
Because Poncho stays behind. He stays on the log to 1v1 the predator with a machete. Who was it?
Oh, who got hit by it then when it swung?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was Jesse Ventura's character.
No, I thought he died pretty... Because the first one to die was Hawkins with the glasses.
Yes.
Then the second one was...
Oh, no, this was Billy. That was Billy. Billy's the one that gets hit, I think.
Really? Because I thought it was a smaller guy that they were walking back, because it was enough that Anna could help carry him. But Jesse's character and Billy were really big, right? Or Blaine and Billy are both very big characters.
I thought it was... Oh, I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah, Billy, who I keep saying is Billy, is who I keep thinking Poncho is.
Oh, okay.
That is my fault. Yeah.
The only way I could tell Billy and Blaine apart was, one, their voices, and two, one of them has a dimple in their chin.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm looking at current headshots, and I'm getting.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting them mixed up. Yes. So let me rephrase that. Billy's the one that keeps looking into the woods and seeing the predator.
Is he and he's the one with the quote like, "Oh, I'm scared," right? That
yes.
I said.
Yes. That makes a lot more sense now in my head, because I thought.
And I think Billy has like the bandana and like the black hair or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. So Billy's definitely the one. Yes. No, I mean Poncho's the one that gets hit.
Yeah, so it's Poncho and Anna, like, and Dutch is like, you get Poncho back. I'm gonna go like check up what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of party splitting, which doesn't seem like the move when you're getting hunted, but you know, each their own. But yeah, so Mac is trying to avenge his friend. Yeah, so maybe he did do it for that. I didn't think too much into it, more so because I don't think it's worth it to get Dylan specifically killed, because the only advantage they had in the beginning were numbers. And because of their numbers was the only way that Anna could discover that it had this green blood.
Yeah. Which I thought that was pretty neat. Like, even though her whole thing, I was like, why are you even here? Like, her character had worth, it felt like.
I mean, she was supposed to be smart.
Yeah.
And she had the old wives' tales to kind of, like, help give context of this thing has maybe been here before.
Yeah. And so actually this kind of, I guess, context for the other question I had was they this whole point, like before Mac kind of goes off to get revenge and everything, they set up like they just trap this clearing, which I think is interesting. One, that it works. Where it's just it's like, man, it was like if Arnold wasn't the one that stepped out of there, that character was going to be dead. Arnold had plot armor. But before they set up this whole thing, like Dutch and Dylan are arguing with each other that no, we only have to make 10 miles to get to the helicopter. Well, Dutch is like, no, we need to make a stand. Which camp would you fall into?
I probably would have fallen in the camp of making a stand, because even if we got to the helicopter point, there was evidence that the last helicopter kind of like got completely wrecked and destroyed and they couldn't protect themselves. So even if you got to the helicopter point, you could have just killed more people versus trying to take down whatever the actual threat was.
Yeah, it feels like with Dutch and Dylan coming from two different points, where Dutch is like, we can stop it here. Like,
I got my answers.
Yeah. While Dylan's like, I need to get out of here and get this information back to the CIA or whatever group he's with. Yeah. So, I don't know. Those are the two questions I was thinking of. I was like, yeah, it might be a little bit interesting.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Well, yeah, and then it was like, I feel like what a lot of movies today, where it's just like, well, here's the scene with the scantily clad women. In that movie, in The Predators, like, here's the scene with bulging muscle men for about 5 minutes. And it's just like, and then Arnold's like, stop complaining and help. And it's like, here's another one.
Yeah, I like, at one point, I swear I blinked and all their shirts were off. And I was like, where did their shirts go?
It was just like, and Dylan's just like, I don't even want to do this. We got to leave. And he's just like, well, stop complaining and help, and maybe we can get done this quicker and we can go to the airplane. He's like, okay. And then I was like, in my head, like, I forget which sitcom it is, but just like, as they're all like kind of like pulling up the log and setting things up, I'm just like, everywhere you look, everywhere you go.
I was expecting you to say like the Benny Hill montage music.
Oh, that would work too. Yeah. So,
yeah. Oh, I mentioned the green blood that does happen in like this arc of the movie. From what I saw in trivia, apparently they wanted the blood to be orange, I guess, to like feel more alien and weird, but they said it looked really bad on camera with everything considered. So then they went and got some glow sticks and KY jelly and mixed them together to make the blood.
Yeah. I think this is also another interesting part, like when you find out that the Predator could get injured. And it's different.
The line, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah. There's that, but it's just I think it's interesting where it's just like that the blood part of it just feeds so much into it, where it's just like, this is where Anna like kind of actually shows she can speak English, and then magically is able to explain the situation way better than she could in her own native tongue. Oh, that annoyed me. It's just like, the forest, the forest is moving, or whatever she says. And that's all they can get.
The forest is coming alive. Yeah.
And then she speaks English, and it's just like,
I have this whole story about the butcher. Yeah.
You couldn't have said this. Like, I know you wanted to escape, but that's like, for real. Actually, that's another good point, where it's just like, the whole reason the Predator starts the first, or finds him, but like has the first kill, is because Anna's trying to escape, and then it's after that point, because she is like face first with like the Hawkins dying, pretty much, that she's like, I'm done. And then like, that's also
because they tried to blame her at first, but then they were like, he didn't die to guns.
Yeah. Well, like Dylan's like, and like a few other people, and then that's when Dutch is just like, no, like, literally look at her. She is terrified out of her mind.
She would have run away.
Yeah, like, and that's when like he cuts her loose, and she's just like, "I'm gonna stay now."
No more kidnap. I'm too scared.
Yeah, totally understandable. But yeah, it was just I think it was just an interesting thing where like she's the only one that saw the blood, and then
And
like,
she kind of starts piecing some stuff together about like she mentions a chameleon, and Dylan's like, "You told me a goddamn lizard has killed the crew," and she's like, "No, I'm not saying it is a lizard."
No, we got rid of that art. We got rid of that costume.
Yeah. But yeah, and then in this part is when we really get introduced to a lot of the cool vocal effects that the Predator has. And when I looked into it, apparently the voice person who does the voice for the Predator is the same person who did the voice for Optimus Prime, Eeyore, the little cute gremlin in Gremlins, the movie, and King Kong. And there are a couple of reasons he ended up using the noises he did. He said when he first saw the character art and the way that the mandibles were, he said it reminded him of when he saw a horseshoe crab flipped over and dying, and it made a lot of gurgling noises. So he kind of took inspiration from that. And then he ended up doing a lot of clicking because after the King Kong movie, he had injured his, I don't know if it was his vocal cord specifically, but he was coughing up blood a lot. So by doing the clicking noises, it made it easier on his voice, and he didn't have to keep expending that.
Yeah, voice acting is so cool that I'm glad that now people are like, no, it's really important
To take care of your voice, to take care of
your voice, but
yeah.
then like just having like just people coming in like as voice actors, I feel like they're starting to become a little bit more recognized.
Yeah, it's funny playing video games back in the day where people were like, "Oh, I think you have a cool voice. You should act for us." And then you listen, and you're like, "They're not an actor." They have a cool voice, but they're not an actor.
Yeah, and now it's like where there's so much more animation stuff coming out with like CGI kind of going quicker and a lot more overseas animation coming over. It's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to do that now, especially with seeing how video games are made now, where they're literally just acting but just having
Mocapping,
a digital skin. Yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else in this chunk. Like, Aaron kind of gets destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, like, it had some pretty tense moments, and a lot of this kind of did serve to kind of teach the Dutch about kind of what it's capable of, what it's looking for, what it's doing. Because in the very beginning, it's kind of just vague. You just kind of, like, swap between weird camera angles, which I appreciate. I like the weird camera angles, but they go from, like, weird camera angles from above the party to back to the party and back and forth. And now, as a viewer, you're like, oh, they connect because they booby-trapped everything. And then he's like, oh, they didn't trip any of the wires. How's that possible? And they're like, there's trees everywhere. It's in the trees.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It was fun, like, seeing them find out the information.
Yeah.
Rather than it's just, like, it feels a lot more natural, like, for the way they found out the information, rather than, like, what is going on? And then, like, hi,
someone has a revelation.
Yeah, or it's just like, or like I could see it's just like this one Anna all of a sudden gets her magical English montage.
Remember, I read about this in a book one time.
I'm Pepperidge Farms. I remember.
I remember when.
Let's see. There was something else that I wrote for this section, and I can't find what I wrote. But in short, I thought it was interesting, and you kind of hit on it, was like the whole time of their perspective of running through the, like, okay, how do you make walking through the forest tense? You go and keep switching back and forth between the thing that's hunting them, because at this point, like, the predator,
the hunt actually begins.
Yeah, the hunt begins, and we haven't seen it yet. Like, we've seen, like, I think the effect and, like, what it can do. Like, it isn't until, like, way later that you find out it has a stinking shoulder laser cannon.
Oh, yeah, that's because Mac is, like, crawling through the log because he thinks he can sneak up on it.
Yeah.
And then he sees the 3 dots, and then his brain explode.
Yeah. Like, I think there's there's signs of it later, like being used. But yeah, it's like at this point where I think it's very interesting because I feel like a lot of aliens that come in, like they're one of two sides. They're either super bestial and they're like all instinct hunting, going and getting the prey, or they're invading, speak English, or like they're just so imposing where it's just like, what is going on?
But they're allergic to germs.
Yeah, there's that, but like I was just thinking of like, I don't know, just kind of the ones that kind of can speak English and like taking over, like they're super intelligent and stuff, but like they feel more like campy, I guess. Speaking about that, there's like a game coming out where you fight gray heads. I think that's what they're called. The like gray aliens with the big heads.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the Friday the 13th guy has plans to make a Predator movie in the same style, or Predator game. Sorry,
I think it would work.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a sweaty pit. Anyway.
So then on to the final arc.
Oh well, there's one other thing I was gonna say, and then I forgot it. But what was
you said the tension moving back and forth, laser cannon.
Oh yeah. But just like kind of how these two things. I feel like the Predator is like a good middle ground where it's just like I think
he's also learning about them.
Yes,
as they're learning about him.
I don't think he's bestial, but he's not like super. Like he is very intelligent. Because there's parts where he just starts like mimicking their voice.
Yeah, he's like practicing.
Yeah, and just like hunting, and I guess this goes more into the last part, but it's just I think the thing I just find it interesting where it's like he got shot, and it's not like he's the super intelligent like alien force where it's just like he can just either heal automatically or just kind of and he's not so bestial where it's just it doesn't matter, it's not stopping. Like he got shot and he's just like, okay, I'm out, I'm gonna take care of this and then I'm going to destroy you guys.
Yeah, and then he feels pain because he does react to having to inject himself to help deal with the bullet wound.
Yeah, it's like it feels
it's a bit grounded.
Yeah, grounded, but like it feels like it doesn't feel like where this last part that we're going into, where Dutch versus, which is funny, they don't call it the Predator during the whole movie.
It doesn't have a name, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It actually
they name it. Do they?
It actually had a different name for the movie. I learned they wanted to call it Hunter, but another movie in like the same year or two also came out named Hunter.
I wonder if they're gonna give it a name in the second one, but But anyway, it's like from everything we learned from this, like it doesn't feel like it's a stretch of the imagination that this fight, with both of them learning all the information that they do with each other, that it seems super far out of reason.
Oh yeah, it does feel like, and there is actual tension there because you can't tell who has the upper hand. It seems obvious, but then as things disclose, you find like the tables shift a bit. So yeah. So let's move into the third part because I just realized how long we've been talking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a longer ep, but I rambled on.
All right, so then
there's one thing before, like right before we go in there, and it's real short, that I was like, how, like he's just like, Anna, go to this area. There's a chopper waiting there. They know why they went into the forest. The major was there. How the heck is he letting Anna onto that to that helicopter?
So from my guess, I've seen some like videos of some forms of rescue. I can't say that this is how they would do it, or if it's like perfect. No, they don't. They don't land. They drop ropes.
Oh, so
and
then
the
she Predator climbed up.
Well, like they'll drop a rope and then pull.
Yeah.
So then they hold on.
Well, no. I was more like, they know why they went in there, and only one group of people knows where that chopper's going to be. They're just going to let one random random woman who's just running up to them with blood
I
all
thought
over
they said
her.
that. I thought in the beginning they said that it was a hostage situation because that they said that they were getting.
Oh yeah, I guess
remember
they do.
Dutch says,
Yeah, they do contact him. Yeah, I forgot about that. It was just at that point there was just so much going on that I forgot there is. I forgot
there
that
is
they
a plot.
contact him. But it was like one
Yeah.
of those things. I'm just like, still, she's running up with like covered in blood and dirt and just like probably like just freaked out of her mind. And they're like,
Hey, she can speak English.
sometimes, only when it's plot
When it
relevant.
matters.
But yes, final part. He goes down a slide and then lands in mud, and now he's like, camo.
Good summary. Yeah, that's the table that has turned for Dutch to be able to have a fighting chance really against it because I don't think at any point at all the team is even hinted at the idea of heat vision. They just go, it can hear us in the woods.
Well, like at that point they have no reason to believe that
that it can see them.
Yeah, like because they just like there's no, they haven't run into anything that would show that the predator could see any differently.
Yeah, and it is interesting in the scene where they show us what the heat vision is like, and it can't see Dutch, and then it shoots at like an animal kind of in a log,
Yeah.
and then Dutch's eyes go,
It's like,
oh,
oh my gosh.
oh.
He's like, so, yes.
And then really long montage of him setting up the next set of booby traps.
Yeah. So
They were really cool traps, but I was just like, oh, this has been 15 minutes of them panning back and forth of him doing things.
Yeah. And it's like, what's the predator even doing? He's like, well, that was an animal. Okay, I'm going to go off right now.
I'm going to go take a nap.
I guess he might have, because I think at that point his cloaking.
He was malfunctioning. Yeah.
Like, so I guess it would have made sense for him to go fix the stuff. But yeah, and then it's the fight between the two, which I think it's interesting. Like, even while it's going on, like, it's still showing like how much of a tech advantage the predator has, where it's like he throws a rock and then he shoots where he hears the noise, and then his computer is like, wait a second, that rock fell at a certain angle, and then like reverse maths where the rock was thrown and shoots where Dutch is hiding.
And it has a lot of like auto aim, like compared to what we can see now in our time in the 2020s, seeing what auto aim looks like in video games versus the auto aim that is like,
Yes.
it's very interesting to see the difference. But I know, Arnold is basically running around with his fists and a bow and a trap and a plan, and the alien is like, I have auto aiming lasers and guns and shoulder gun and
Well,
and
he only has the shoulder gun. He doesn't have.
No, I thought he has the shoulder gun, and then his laser is the thing that's next to his eye, because remember it has the 3 dots on Mac.
But the laser, I think that's just a targeting thing.
Oh, I thought he used that to like shoot a shotgun type thing, because he also has a laser. Because doesn't he use a laser to shoot at Poncho? Because he like, remember he has like the skulls at the end for all his trophies, and like Poncho's is like a big laser wound through the skull.
I'm getting slightly. I know for me, I'm getting a little bit confused because I know in other iterations of the Predator, he has more. He has other tools.
Okay, because I know in this one they show he has the claws.
Yeah.
Because he does get into like the choke match with Dutch. He has the shoulder gun, and then he has the thing above his eye. That could just be an aiming thing. I thought it was a laser too.
I thought it was an aiming thing, but I could be wrong. Like, because I know in other later movies he has like a spear, pretty much, or like a javelin kind of thing. Or that could be just in the video games. So
it could be just in video game versions, yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's still it's tech versus jungle.
Yeah.
Nature.
Yeah, I did very much enjoy the part where keep saying Arnold. Dutch is trying to trick him into falling for the trap. Like,
come on.
Dutch is like cornered. Kill me. You want to do it. And
he bumps his head, and that's the only way he knows. Because he's about to do it, and he's just like, whoop.
And then he's like investigating everything around him and goes, this is a trap. And then Dutch is like, oh, what do I do? What do I
And then it really begs the question: is like how was that log trap really? Like, how good was that actually set up? Because that didn't land where he was hoping it was going to land.
No, but it did.
Got the job done.
It got the job done. Lots of green goo, and then he starts laughing maniacally, and you're like, "What's he got up his sleeve?"
Yeah, and then he talks. Everyone talks English, the universal language.
Well, at least for the Predator,
Yeah,
they showed him
learning.
practicing, picking up phrases and using it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he starts maniacally laughing, and up his sleeve is self-detonation. Slow-mo run from action movie.
What was it? There was something about that I think I remember I'm seeing if I'm also in the IMDb stuff looking.
Oh, the important part of part 3 is the first time you actually see what the Predator looks like, because he's
Yes.
been wearing a helmet the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because so I think that's also interesting because at that point, like, it feels like this is more than just hunting. Like, at this part, it feels like the Predator looks at Dutch as like, no, you're worthy. Where I'm not gonna hunt you with the tech. This is going to be,
We're gonna 1v1.
yeah, like,
Mano y mano.
yeah, like hand to hand.
Well, I guess he's not a man, but
what is a
Alien
man
hippie
but
man.
what is a man but a pile of, I can't remember the Dracula line, of miserable secrets or something. I wish I could remember what it was. There was something I remember reading, and now I can't find it, and I don't remember what it was. But there was something with the Predator. But yeah, okay, where were we? Yeah, it was, yeah. So, but like, one thing I thought was just interesting, where it's just like, it went from that, it became less of, okay, less of I'm hunting you down, and this is like, no, this is like for honor now. To like,
yeah, it was kind of like when you think of like a hero's tale, this is like the triumphant part where he's like, I figured out what I need to do. I will avenge my friends. I will go down a hero.
It also turns out that the Predator is super petty because he's like, I lost. I'm gonna blow you up now.
Oh, I don't lose. We all lose.
Yes, which, to be fair, I can relate.
I'm gonna bring you down with
It's like,
me.
if I'm going down, you're coming down with me, which is
but
why I don't get invited to play a lot of Minecraft games.
Yeah, so sorry. Out of the 3 parts, what order would you put them in as far as how much you enjoyed each arc?
2, 3, 1.
Yep, same. Easy. We'll do fine in our final episode of listing
Yep.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a lot of fun watching this. I could have gone without, like I said, kind of like the first arc, but otherwise I think it was pretty decently told. Apparently the critics were like, there's no plot, and I was like, there didn't need to be one. That's not the point of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't need it. It wasn't trying to tell us anything. It was a fun adventure.
Yeah, I feel like the very first part, like, where like them in the helicopter, where it's very much like, here's the rest of the troop and blah 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 and all that stuff. I think each part does show its importance of like, this is why this group of, like, these guys are highly trained people that are going into situations that they're used to, and it's just like, look at them, they are like rock stars at what they do, as they get picked off one by one, like, and not like the first one I think is by himself pretty much, but for the most part, like, there's some where they get picked off while they're in the group. And it's just
Yeah, like Pancho gets headshot, like a very precise shot to the head, while I think it was Dutch was like trying to help walk him.
and Billy,
And Dutch is like, what?
and Billy's just like, I'm gonna fight you with this machete, and it's just like,
Yeah, he cuts
Oh.
his chest and then immediately dies.
yeah,
And we're like, okay,
Well, like, I don't know what the whole point of cutting your chest was, but cool.
good for you.
But yeah, like the transition from like, okay, we need to end the mission and leave, to we're being hunted, is a very interesting shift to the end.
Yeah, because they were super confident and
Yeah.
like easy peasy. We've done this before. Check all the boxes, to being like panicking.
Yeah, fail their sanity checks, have sanity breaks, going insane. The last scene though of the third part I thought was very interesting, where it's just like the explosion happened, Arnold gets away from it, and then they're like, instead of Arnold going or Dutch going to where like the predetermined place was, we have the helicopter fly around, and there he is just action posing in the ashes, just like, I did this. I'm
so tired.
I'm a man. It was a good action pose though. But yeah, no, it's I could see why this at least got the second one.
Yeah, I can see why people would demand to see what happens next. But overall, the next thing I was going to ask you is how much fun would you say you had watching this?
I think I had some. I think it was pretty decent fun. Like, I at the beginning, like I think the parts where I didn't have fun was me just trying to turn up my computer, trying to hear what they were saying or stuff. But like, I think, yeah, about an average amount of fun. As soon as they kind of got past the whole helicopter bit and like kind of a few of like, 'cause it's not, I know some people like, if like older people, that means like, oh, these young millennials can't handle a joke. I'm like, dude, I don't even laugh at jokes that are like even like against like people's like spouses and stuff that aren't even anywhere close to that. I just don't find that humor funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not even humorous in the grand scope of things. It's just cheap.
And it's like, I don't see the point of it. Like, what is like, oh, is he the pervert? Because there's other ways you can show that like I don't know, it still wouldn't be great.
Yeah, the thing that I like to listen to is the advice I've heard some stand-up comedians say when it comes to comedy is always punch up. Everyone can agree to like laugh at someone that's like on their high horse and needs to be taken down a notch. Don't just punch at groups of people or people below you, because like, what are you really doing? You're just proving that you're a bully. Because like, it's like, oh, everyone's allowed to like comment on Elon Musk being a scummy guy. It's like, yeah, because he has so much money, but he somehow has immunity from everything. Like, versus like, why can't I be mean to the little guy? It's like the little guy didn't do anything inherently evil.
I want to get to that point. I want people to make jokes about me, and I want to watch it.
You want your own roast?
Yeah. Well, like, but I don't want to be invited. I just want to have like, I want the Elon Musk roast. Where it's just like, okay.
If you Google your name, you'll be like, that's what they say about me now.
Well, to be fair, if I Google my name, I don't show up. I have like, this. Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think it's like a black football coach from the South.
I think I had like a gymnast at one point.
Yeah.
But that was years ago, so it's probably like they probably aren't still practicing.
Now,
gymnasts.
if I Google my username, I am the first like 3 pages.
SEO.
But yeah, it's how about yourself? What?
I would say I had fun. Like I said, like, you know, it's the usual like of the times kind of thing, because I also watched Total Recall with Arnold, and I did like that version of Total Recall because it was just very fun. But some things, like, it's just like you have to push to like the other side. But it's interesting because I was watching some YouTube videos of like I forget the name of the account, but it's like someone that dubs things to kind of like make commercials funnier, but then they use a lot of this like lowbrow humor, and I was like, what year did that come out? And it said it was only 5 years ago. I was like, 5 years ago, and they were making like racist commentary based on like these dubbed commercials? I'm not a fan. But otherwise, yeah, like, all in all, for what it is, I went in thinking this was going to be like a movie by men for men, and it really is at the end of the day. A lot of it is, but the writing was better than I had expected in terms of human emotion and moving the tenseness kind of decently throughout the movie. Like, when you finally first get the bit's attention, it still carries out nicely, and then it kind of culminates into a, oh, okay, this is when it's all clicking kind of moment.
Sorry, I was listening. I was trying to find out when Total Recall came out.
I thought it was the 90s.
It's 1990s. Because this is a very early Predator Predator is an early movie. I think the Commando is earlier than that. I remember.
Yeah, Total Recall is exactly 1990.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, brain. But I remember I was watching like an interview with Arnold, and he was saying that he was first brought over because he was just jacked and he looked good, and so that's what he was doing. And then it wasn't
like Terminator kind of.
Well, it wasn't until Conan where he finally got a line, which is just like the famous Conan line, which if I can find it real quick.
I have actually watched that, but I don't really remember it very well.
Yeah,
he was like very famously Mr. Universe, and
but it
19 to 82.
Yeah,
Conan the Barbarian, where he punches a camel and throws a woman in a fire.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I can't find the line, but yeah, it's just there's that like he has a little mini monologue, which is like he's like that was like the first thing that it ever said was spoken. And then it might have been Conan the Destroyer. And then in Terminator, he doesn't say anything at all, pretty much. But then, like, in Commando, he's...
I will be back.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then it's like Commando is where it's just like when he started actually getting the English language down.
Full lines.
Yeah, like where he was starting to get, like, lines. And then Predator, like, he doesn't have a huge dialogue, but it's just...
But he is the main character.
He's the main character, and there's just not a lot of talking in there. But it's just...
He has the most lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's like what's also interesting is that The Running Man came out the same year. Is The Running Man? Hold on, let me make sure.
That came out in 87.
Yeah, so did Predator.
I thought Predator was 84 for some reason. Oh, okay.
No, Terminator was 84.
Terminator was 84.
Okay. The Running Man. Okay, I had to make sure which movie it was. I haven't watched it in a while, but I did like The Running Man. I like the concept of it. And,
oh God! They said in the year 2019 the world economy has collapsed. in the Running Man.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're
getting there. Just a few years late.
But like he has a lot of lines in there, but it's kind of the same level as Predator. But Twins, that's like a major speaking role. Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop.
Was Twins his first comedy?
I think so, but I'm not.
Because Kindergarten Cop is also a comedy.
Yeah,
right?
Kindergarten Cop, same year as Total Recall.
Oh.
Twins came out in 88. He like between the two, it's just like it's just interesting seeing how many more, like, as he got more of a mastery of English and just was able to speak, like just how much more like his speaking roles went up. Where I think it's interesting where he wasn't like, yes, he was typecast as the big muscle man, but it wasn't like he didn't stay in that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no, Predator fun. Next week, Predator 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Concrete Jungle. Actually, that's a Predator video game. I take that back.
But yeah, so for anyone that listened this far, I know it's been a while since we've had these longer form episodes, but we appreciate it. We would doubly appreciate it if you leave us any ratings or reviews on your preferred podcast listening to service. And we would triply appreciate it if you interacted with us at all. You can find us at twitter.com/pointlessdisco. We also have various other social media we make content on. You can find the links below. And quadruply if you share us with a friend, enemy, lover, friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, coworker, boss, employee, personal assistant, if you're that kind of person in your life, and teach me how to get to that point in my life.
If you have an intern, make it part of their internship to listen to all 120 some episodes.
People that work at your favorite restaurant. I don't know. But yes, we would always appreciate it.
The guys from What We Do in the Shadow. You can listen to it too.
We should also watch that. I'll probably watch that new season soon.
Yeah, that's on my list. I'm waiting for more episodes to come out.
That's fair. But yeah, anything else you want to say to the people before we wrap it up?
Hi. It doesn't have to be relevant. I just wanted to say hello. Okay.
Oh.
No, that was it. Bye.